Hello my friends, some of the loud bangs were reported today in Gvardiska town of Crimea, and even we have some sort of the videos with the smoke and photos from the different camera angle. As usual, the Russian occupation administration reported that it was the Russian fighter jet that went through the sonic barrier, creating the sound. But just few seconds ago I showed you the smoke from the place, and also local reported that it was the drone. So why this tiny little town in the center of Crimea near to Simferopol city is so important? Well, let's zoom in, and here you can see the military airfield, the home for the Russian fighter jets, and not only. And just near you can see the commercial airfield, and I used to fly there many times on ATR 72. The main thing when you fly to Simferopol from Kyiv is to land at the proper airfield, because they're very close to each other, and if you perform the visual approach, you may got misled, and there were numerous of the cases that civilians landed in Gvardiska airfield. And for this hour I don't have the details about today's attack, whether Russian fighter jets or something was destroyed, and even if airfield was targeted by the drone. It's hard to get the information from the enemy side, and the locals are scared to provide it in the social media, because they may be even jailed providing that information, and Russian officials decided not to tell anything about the case, saying that it was the supersonic barrier penetration, well, as usual. Well, this is definitely something bigger that happened in Russia today, but before we go to it, let me tell you about the partner and the sponsor of my video, the Atlas VPN. They came out with a big deal for my subscribers and viewers, so you have the option to get the Atlas VPN Premium with a great discount. It is just $183 per month. The deal is time limited, so hurry up and join the club. And now I'm gonna tell you why the Atlas VPN is the best VPN out there. It has military encryption standards, strongly securing your data and your devices from being reached by government, unwanted ads, and also hackers. Yes, you may say hackers, why do they need my account? Well, actually, my friends, I got personal experience that my pilot blog channel dedicated to aviation was hacked. Then I was using public Wi-Fi. All of my videos were deleted, and after that hackers told me to send Bitcoin for them and they will open access to my own account. I didn't transfer anything and just started the new channel with the same name. And obviously after that case I use the VPN all of the time, and for me personally Atlas VPN is the best VPN out there. It has a security breach device monitoring feature, so it alerts me that someone tries to reach my device, then I use the public Wi-Fi. Then I see that message, I disconnect from that public Wi-Fi. Atlas VPN is very fast. It guarantees you the best streaming connection, then you watch movies on Netflix. And also by changing your virtual location you may get access to watch all of the movies, all of the series on Netflix platform. It helped me a lot. Atlas VPN helps me to access some of the websites that are blocked in my country. Patreon website is one of them, my friends, and now please check out the link in a video description just below. Join the 30 years offer for $183 per month and you'll have 83% of discount. You also have 3 months for free. The offer is time limited with my personal link, so please hurry up to join the club. You know what? Russian officials will have to say something, at least in this case, then the gas pipeline exploded in Sverdlovsk Oblast. The part of the pipeline has the name Yamburg-Yelets 1. And it's not the first time that someone smokes near to the very important pipelines, and there were numerous of the cases recorded last year and this year, and this one obviously will be eliminated and fixed, but it will disrupt the supplies of the gas to the third countries, making Russia an unreliable partner in that case. There were numerous reports, mostly from the Russian propaganda, saying that Ukraine is wasting the help provided by the United States of America. However, the American investigation team, the experts that were sent to search where the help is going in Ukraine, said that there were no any violations. And United States created a special system with minimum human factor involvement to automatically send the data for the particular help that was sent to Ukraine. And you know what? I'm really happy that we have this control lever from our Western allies. One of the leading media services, the Wall Street Journal, says that Russian economy started to collapse because of the war in Ukraine and also because of the sanctions. And they even put this image over here, the guy who is desperately trying to find the fish on the ice. Probably it will be the case for most of the Russians, they are trying to say with this picture. Well, partially it is true, the Russian economy is in a deep shed, but still they have lots of the resources accumulated from their growth before. And before the war there were quite high oil prices, that is why Russia was able to increase their budget and also buy some gold in case. But now the oil prices just dived down, especially for the Russian brand Urals. The price of it is a little bit more than 30 bags per barrel, and Russian economy should have the income for the prices at least twice high. Also, Russia started to lose clients, which is quite okay for the other competitors like Saudi Arabia or Qatar. But still, it's far to be the collapse of the Russian economy. Still, it's big, it has lots of the workforce, and not many people are willing to go for the ice for fishing. But in the future, in a few years, Russian economy will collapse for sure. It happened in Soviet Union, then they started the Afghan war. So it took them 10 years to lose it and 3 more years for total collapse. It could be the same scenario for Russia, just hope that it will not take that much time. Because at least for now, the door for the workforce is open in Russia. And many young men and women are leaving their country not willing to live in this destructive state. And also, there's the great fear of the new mobilization wave that can strike Russia at any time. Okay, Ukraine got the Patriot systems, that's awesome, but still they were not deployed. I think we're waiting for the counterattack to start, and they will be deployed not in Kyiv or not in Dnipro or Kharkiv, they will go closer to the front lines. This is the awesome air defense system against the Russian military jets, and it has the range up to 150 kilometers, so they will cover our forces on the fields. Because still we are in lack of the airplanes. Yes, we will have the MiGs from Poland and Slovakia, but it is not enough for the full-scale attack that will be conducted by Ukraine. So Patriots will compensate the difference between Ukraine and Russian aviation. Obviously, Russia has many more airplanes, and for now they start to use the Sukhoi Su-35, their best seller to the third countries, to fight in Ukraine. It has the powerful radar and the long-range missiles, but for the Patriot system, I think it could be the easy target. Because still, Sukhoi Su-35 is not the stealth jet, it's not the 5th generation of the airplanes, it's the 4th generation, the same as F-16. And radars of the Patriot systems are tuned on those kind of the Russian planes. Also news from the British intelligence, according to their information, Ukraine conducted a successful counterattack in Bakhmut, cutting the supplies for the Wagner forces. So Ukrainians pushed the Russian Wagner group fighters back from the minor country road that has become the critical supply line for the Ukrainian defenders. So yeah, actually we didn't cut the Wagner supplies, but we free our own supplies from their attacks. And you know what? The British intelligence says that Russian assaults are still at the reduced level compared to the recent weeks. It is a good sign that Russian forces are getting exhausted in Bakhmut. That was the main aim from the Ukrainian side. And today the leader of the Wagner army, Prigozhin, said that their destiny is to die in Bakhmut, but taking Ukrainians with them. And he got many likes under that post from the Russian public, which is kind of confusing. He called it the self-sacrifice, but for what? For Bakhmut not even taking it? To sacrifice the entire private army not even accomplishing the mission task. It's very strange. Yeah, sometimes he just talks absolute nonsense. But you know what? At least Prigozhin understands that they'll find their end in Bakhmut. Reuters says that Germany will send additional military help to Ukraine. Here we are speaking about the 12 billion euros. It doesn't mean that we'll obtain 12 billion euros on national Ukrainian bank accounts. Absolutely not. Germany will invest that money into their economy, their factories, to produce more weaponry to deliver to Ukraine. So we'll have more tanks and more air defense systems and other stuff. The British Defense Minister Ben Wallace, in his today's interview to the Sky News, said that Russia lost around 220,000 soldiers in this war. Well, it depends on the type of the conflict, but usually you have around 3 more times wounded personnel compared to the total loss. And those losses are tremendous. The wounded soldiers rarely go back to fight on the front lines, at least with the previous effectiveness. So Russia now lost more forces than they started their major attack with on 24th of February last year. I published this video today with lots of the Ukrainian vehicles and tanks, and you guys say that this video is kind of old. Well, it could be. I just was misled with the snow. I thought that it's the current condition. Mostly have you can see the Soviet-made vehicles. And now we have the French IMAX 10 RC tanks. They are not remote controlled, no. And I may call this vehicle a tank since it's got the turret, but there are no any signs of the caterpillars. And here on the video you can see how this tank may go down a little bit with full base, lowering the gun. And now it goes up. And yesterday I made fun about this Photoshop tank, the Challenger 2, with lots of the Contact 1 armor, but I was really surprised seeing the real photo today. So here it is. Yes, it's not the Challenger 2 tank, it's the Leopard 2A4, but it has also the Contact 1 armor plates on the front. And for sure this tuning was done by the Ukrainian army. It may save against the old shells that Russia still may use. But mainly the Contact 1 protection is not that effective compared to the Russian-made Contact 5 that they put on their T-90s. But even Contact 5 sags against the modern shells that will be used on Leopard 2 or Challenger 2 tanks. I know that we are all waiting for the Ukrainian counterattack to start very soon, and today the defense minister of Ukraine, Reznikov, said openly then it should start. He says about the late April and beginning of the May. I think that it's the first time in the history that the opponent, the Russian Federation, knows the time and the place of the counterattack that will happen. Because also from the public information we know that Ukraine sends reinforcements to Zaporizhia region and concentrate the large group of the forces there, so we should expect the counterattack in that particular place towards Melitopol, I think. But Reznikov also said that we are planning the counterattack on many of the directions and we are waiting for the proper time to start it, and mainly it depends on the weather conditions. I hope that Ukrainian counterattack will be successful because we bet almost everything on that one. And this map is published by the Russian side. As you can see, they say that they entered and they've took the factory on the north and now coming to this part, the western part of the city. And I would agree that they've took this part over here. And this is the Russian map of the Bakhmut city. Here they say that they've took the factory under their control and they're going to the city, also to the western part. Well, until we have Haromova crossroad under Ukrainian control, it's early to say to leave the Bakhmut city because we have the connection, we have the road. But they're pushing also from the north over here and also on the south over here. They may cut this road, but still we have the secondary one that leads to the Chasiv Yar. The Russian forces are still unable to encircle our forces in Bakhmut, and I don't see it is happening. Yes, they're pushing us from the east side and from the south and from the north, and the Ukrainians have to leave the positions, but we're moving controllably to the western side of the city. I think we're gonna keep this crossroad for a very long time. Wagners do worry about their flanks over here on the north and about the south, because Ukraine collected lots of the forces for the possible counteroffensive action, but still we are not using them for now. And President Zelensky said that for him it's crucial to withstand the Bakhmut city, because otherwise, if we'll have lots of the losses for nothing, if Wagners would finally take the city, the Ukrainian society would think about the possible peace agreements with Russia. Well, even if Russians would take the city, I don't think it's possible to agree on something with the current Russian president and his circle. Remember the Russian old-school tank, the T-55? Well, it seems like Uralvagon-Zavod, the factory that produces the Russian tanks, have it in their line. Well, actually, they do not produce it fully, they just modernized the old tanks that they got from the storages. And indeed, I see the huge modernization here. The number 55 looks like SS right now. And let's look at the current tank. Indeed, I see some modernization for the armor protection, especially on the tank turret. And I wonder if they put the thermal camera. It could be this one, who knows, but there is no modern aiming equipment from what I can say. Also, gun has no stabilization and has no compensation for the gases that go inside the turret in case you fire from it. On the modern day tanks, you can see this part is kind of the bigger one, some sort of the cylinder or a canister you may call it, and this canister used for that specific reason, not to let the fumes inside the tank, to make the job of the crew more comfortable, and that is why more effective. Well, the best thing about this Russian tank that it's very light and it has the powerful engine, but also you cannot use it on the front lines. Why? Because it will be destroyed if you use it for its purpose. Because even with that extra protection, this tank is very vulnerable. And with the gun it cannot penetrate anything that we have. The simple Ukrainian T-64 will just demolish it into the front part. So Russians will mostly use those as the support for their infantry and also as the artillery systems. The caliber is kind of low for that, just 100 millimeters, but still they are gonna use it. And that totally eliminates the advantage of this Jurassic era tank, the powerful engine and the maneuverability. As you can see, mostly we obtained the Soviet-made aviation, and Croatia decided to send to us Mi-8 helicopters. Those are fantastic machines to deliver goods and transport the infantry, but those are not the attack helicopters if we compare it to the Russian K-55 or American Apache that were made for the specific purpose. And we are in lack of those helicopters, but we got the Mi-24, which is also the attack helicopter. It is not as good as Apache, but still we have those and it's great. So thank you Croatia for the Mi-8 helicopters. Alright, the military map. And before we go to Bakhmut and other hotspots, let me tell you about the future counterattack that should be expected in April or May. And here you see that Russia is really on defense on the specific positions, not to let the Ukrainian army to enter Melitopol and further to go to Crimea. They may also use those forces near to Kherson to back up them over here. Well, the only place where they are quite weak is near to Energodar, where we have the nuclear power plant. But the problem is that it's almost impossible to cross this river over here. It's very wide and we don't have the specific equipment to send large portions of troops over there. But honestly, yes, Russia is in lack of the defense forces in this particular place. But also there are no any road connections, just the railroad far away. So you need to have the pretty much awesome weather, the best weather, to go on attack from this position. So I do not expect that we're gonna land on the other part of the river, on the other shore, and still we're gonna start the counterattack somewhere over here in Zaporizhia Zaporizhia region. And as it was reported, Ukraine concentrated the forces near to the Dnipro city, and further they will be sent to Zaporizhia, somewhere here, to start the counteroffensive. Alright, let's go to Bakhmut, the situation there with no changes for the day, and those are awesome news for us and not good for the Russian side. Honestly, I expected that they might encircle us over there, but no, it's not happening, and Wagner is not as strong as they say. Bakhmut is the city and it's not the big one, and still Russia bogged down there. And with their current evaluations, I don't see the perspective for the Wagner forces in a nearby future in the Bakhmut city. And also Prigozhin begs Shoigu for the reinforcements of the flanks on the north and on the south, because without it they may not continue the assault for a very long time. They're not infinite and they have limited forces. Plus, Wagner started to hire their prisoners around half a year ago massively, and after the half a year, after 6 months, if they survive, they got their freedom. Like the slaves, yeah, and they're free to go to Russia and no one can stop them, even Wagner's. Because it was the part of the deal, and Prigozhin should follow this deal, because otherwise he'll not obtain the new soldiers. Well, and that is why their army shrinked a bit and they're losing the best of their prisoners soldiers. Because after 6 months of the constant war, obviously those prisoners became warriors, if they are still alive, and now those warriors will go to enter the Russian society with all of their war traumas and with some AKs and ammunition that they will grab from the front lines. My friends, now press the like to this video and don't forget to check the link for the Atlas VPN, the sponsor of my video and also the great partner of my channel. They came out with a big deal and a great discount for my subscribers and viewers, so follow it to join the club. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.